Hello, and welcome back to Empower Your Menopause, a podcast where we talk about all things health, hormones, and happiness for women over 40. We're coaches James and Julie from Fabulous Beyond 40, and today we're going to talk about something that I think most women are interested in, and that is about real skin and real life, no filters. We're going to talk about the fact that your skin changes in midlife. Texture, tone, dryness can make your usual skincare routine backfire, and especially when it comes to makeup. But a few smart tweaks can actually bring your glow back pretty quickly. So we're very excited that we have a special guest today, and she's going to talk about affordable skincare basics, makeup moves that lift rather than settle, and some simple rituals that can boost your confidence on the days that you need it most. So joining us today is Dawn Pfingsten from Just Doing My Best. Dawn is a wife, mom, and grandmother, as well as a military veteran and a sheep farmer. So she lives with her family on a small hobby farm, and they are fixing up an old farmhouse. She created her YouTube and social media channels for mature women who want simpler solutions and affordable options for their makeup and skincare needs, especially as skin ages. So if your foundation is settling into your fine lines faster than you can say perimenopause, today's guest is about to save your face and your wallet. So let's dive in. So I think it would be nice to start with a little bit of background. So I love your title, Just Doing My Best. I think that's amazing. What moment got you started with that?
Well, I had let me start over. I have a daughter. Our youngest daughter is 19, and I had a full-time job, and I just decided that it was time for me to stay home with her, step back a little bit, which is wonderful. I was around in my early 40s, but I realized that now I didn't have anything for me. So I wanted to start something that was for me, that just kind of gave me a little bit more purpose. Caring for children is wonderful, and obviously that is a wonderful purpose. But still, over 40, I needed something for just that would help me give myself a purpose. And I was on social media and noticed that there was not a lot for women over 40. And now I'm over 50. And
Mhm.
so I wanted a little something for those of us that are getting a little bit older. Our children are getting older. And now what?
Sure, sure.
So,
That's
what
awesome.
prompted you to start thinking about makeup and makeovers and skincare? What was it that prompted that more than anything else? And how did you go about recording your first one? My daughters are 15. They watch so many TikTok videos of makeup application. It is just not funny.
And your point is the exact reason. There are so many beautiful, I say this all the time, there are so many beautiful young girls, young ladies talking about skincare, makeup, skin prep, makeup application, but there wasn't a lot for women over 40 and women over 50. And there are a lot of brands out there that are very trendy. And while those are wonderful, and occasionally we like to splurge and we like to buy something very nice, I wanted something that primarily focused on affordable skincare, affordable
Mhm.
makeup, simple makeup tips that women over 40, women over 50 can do without breaking the bank.
Yeah. So, did you
Yeah,
do training in this, or was it something that was it a journey of self-discovery?
Oh, yes, because let's be honest, James, maybe not so much for Julie, but for you and I know that we didn't grow up in technology. And so this has not been an easy journey to get on camera, share tips, put yourself out there while still learning something completely new and in a social media space, and not necessarily technology field, but it's very technology heavy. the minute you think, okay, I've got this, I know what I'm doing, something like a TikTok comes along. You think, oh, great land. I've got to learn something all over again. And so then it becomes about makeup application, making makeup easier for older women, giving skincare and makeup recommendations. And now, holy moly, I have to learn a whole new side of technology. Like, what in the world? So then it just becomes about helping women, but also really helping myself and pushing myself and seeing, okay, can I do this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to learn TikTok? Do I want to learn Instagram? Oh my gosh. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's a lot.
it's a whole crazy world, and I am not, let's just say, super competent with technology, um,
Same.
either. So yeah, so having to learn all these things, and but I think it's great because you're taking a step that a lot of women, I think, at this age are struggling with, like putting yourself first, right? I want something
Exactly.
just for me. I need something that
Exactly.
gives me a purpose. I think that's amazing because we deal with our clients all the time and try to encourage them to do that, and they struggle with it. And I think what you're doing, because I know you also do fashion and such, but I think makeup really takes that to such a personal level because there's so many myths about beauty, and especially at this age, right? We set this gold standard by youth, but those of us of a certain age, we still want to feel attractive. We still want to feel good about ourselves. Were there any particular myths about midlife beauty that you wanted to smash when you got started?
I think probably one of the biggest is we feel like, I think women over 40 and especially over 50, the more I got closer into my mid 50s, I find that women think, well, that woman is beautiful, but she's 27. Of course, she can talk all about aging skin and mature skin, but she doesn't have any. And
Yeah.
so I can't wear that makeup. I can't wear that foundation. I can't do that same blush application. And in some cases, that's correct. We can't do it exactly that way. We just have to make some tweaks. But also, we can wear a lot of the same makeup, a lot of the skincare. We just have to do it just a little bit differently. And I'm always sharing things that make the makeup process a little bit easier.
Mm.
For instance, now that I think that every birthday presents another challenge. In my 40s and going into my 50s, for instance, my eyebrows were very sparse. Okay, great. So I have to fill them in a little bit more. When I got over about 55, I realized that, oh my word, not only am my eyebrows sparse, but I'm my grandpa and my eyebrows are now sticking out. Oh my gosh. So now
Yeah.
so now I can fill my brows in like the younger girls, but now I have to also, they have products now, brow glue, and they're not expensive. I've got a couple of great ones that I have found that are under 10 or $15, and they
Wow.
just kind of glue those brows in place and they stay there all day long. And then I can fill them in as little or as much as I want, and I'm not
Mhm.
poking anyone in the eye as I have a conversation with them.
Yeah, it's funny. There's so many of these little things we don't even think about. Um,
And like I said, and it's funny because you see those beautiful girls and maybe they're approaching their 40s and they start talking about mature makeup, and no offense to them, because I was 39 and I thought I was approaching midlife and approaching mature skin, and I realized now I had no idea. And again, I think every birthday just presents a new challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
obviously talked
So it's
about
just adapting to those challenges. I'm sorry, James. I was just going to say it's just about adapting to those challenges, and we can use a lot of the same products. We just have to use them just a little bit differently in several cases.
yeah. I wonder if you could speak. This is a really good point to dip into this. I think you talked there about eyebrows becoming more unruly and glue being a great option to help out there. What other physiological shifts should women be looking at planning for? Are we talking about texture? Are we talking about dryness, pigmentation, sensitivity? What kind of things actually physiologically change, I guess, is the question that I'm asking.
Well, for instance, I grew up the 70s and the 80s, and we thought it was a really good idea to lay out in the sun all the time. And we didn't see the challenges that it was going to present later on. You could not have told me when I was 19 that I should not lay out in the sun, and that all of the dark spots on my face, can you tell that I know exactly where they are without looking in a mirror? No one could have convinced me that that was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And so now I need to be very aware. And you know what? There are a lot of women who it makes them feel a little bit better to try to cover up most of them. And I get that. I want my skin to look like my skin, but better. And the fact that I have some age spots, it doesn't bother me. It's part of life.
Mm.
I accept that. But because of that, I want to look for makeup, skincare, obviously, but makeup has changed so much. Now we can find foundations and concealers, things like that, that have so many skincare ingredients. There's absolutely no reason now we should be looking for makeup that just covers. We need to be looking for makeup that actually benefits our skin. Look for things like hyaluronic acid and
Mhm.
vitamin C, niacinamide, things like that that are really going to nourish our skin. Of course, we're going to take good care of our skin, but it doesn't hurt also having makeup that is going to help that skincare work even better.
Sure, sure. Yeah, and that was certainly one of the other questions is about those kind of ingredients because I know some of them can get very, very spendy. As a matter of fact, I make my own cosmetics, so I make a hyaluronic acid serum for myself. It makes a huge difference. But the ones you buy at the fancy cosmetics counters, you're talking about hundreds of dollars to get what you need for a daily routine. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And my favorite foundation is actually from Maybelline. I get it at the drugstore and it's about $15. And I absolutely love it. It's a medium coverage, it has vitamin C in it. And I love that. One of the other things I think is now I have, I'm a rare mature woman that my skin did not get drier. But I know that a lot of mature women, their skin gets very dry.
Hmm.
And so the under eye makeup is definitely an issue. And I hear from a lot of women, they say, oh my gosh, I need a new concealer. I need a new foundation, one that doesn't settle in the fine lines. And I always say,
Yeah.
okay, now hold on just a second. Here's what I want you to try. Stick with your same concealer if you love it. Stick with your same foundation if you love it. But get a moisturizing eye balm to
Hmm.
apply right underneath your eye. Not only does that hydrate the eye, because again, I have oily skin, but still, I get that crepiness underneath my eyes. I get
Hmm.
that settling underneath my eyes. But when you can put a moisturizing eye balm, again, something with niacinamide, something with vitamin C, something with maybe even a little bit of retinol that's hydrating, it will hydrate that under eye area, but it also helps to fill in that area just a little bit so that the concealer doesn't have any place to go and the concealer just
Okay.
does its job beautifully and goes right over the top of that balm.
Yeah. I
Okay.
love the fact that you speak into affordability of products because that is obviously a concern for people. As Julie said, sometimes makeup counters can have products that cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars on them. What are the
Mhm.
what are the brands that you tend to look at then, Dawn? What can you recommend to our listeners?
Well, and let me just say this too, James, that what a lot of people don't know or maybe have forgotten about, there are so many brands that are all owned by one company, like L'Oreal owns a lot of other brands underneath it, like Garnier. Some of them don't come to mind right off the top of my head, but I know L'Oreal owns a lot of brands underneath. So we want to think about, rather than think, okay, drugstore is as good as it gets. I grew up thinking that that was the pinnacle. When I grow up, when I get a job, when I am older, I'm going to get everything at the department store.
Mm-hmm.
And now a lot of those department store brands are owned by the large brands that are already at the drugstore.
Yeah.
So I like brands like L'Oreal. I like brands like Maybelline. Some of my very favorite foundations, even for our mature skin, are from Maybelline and L'Oreal. They make some fantastic products that I think are often overlooked because, again, women my age, we grew up thinking that when I get older, I'm going to get everything in the drugstore because it's the best of the best, and don't really realize that they're owned by some of those brands that we're kind
Yeah.
of thinking that, oh, we don't need that. That's not going to
Sure.
work as well. And we don't realize that they're owned all by the same umbrella
Yeah.
and are
Isn't
going to
that true
carry
with
a lot
so
of the
many
same
things?
ingredients.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just so crazy. And I've been to some of the home parties where they do your makeover for you, and then suddenly you leave with this huge bag. You just spent $250 and you don't know why. I mean,
Right.
I don't wear a lot of makeup. I'm 61
Mhm.
now, and I don't like
Not.
to have it on I
Oh
don't
my
like to have it
gosh.
on my face.
I would have definitely put you at much younger. So that's
Thank you.
amazing. You look amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, but I do find that when I have to put it on for some occasion, I don't really know how because I'm out of practice. So I've been watching your videos on YouTube because you explain things so well. So
Thank
so
you.
so things like when you're actually putting on makeup, can you give some of your favorite tips? Like starting from
Yes,
the base?
you just prompted me to think about something. I think one of the things that is skipped a lot, one of the things that is overlooked as we get older is we think that first of all, we think the makeup doesn't work for us anymore. And we need to hydrate. Even myself, I said I have oily skin, even at 57, which is rare. A lot of women over 40, over 50, it starts to get drier, but we need to hydrate.
Right.
And there are some, even if you hydrate, there are some beautiful sprays that I will use that can hydrate. They have hydrating toners that you can use, and don't skip those steps. I think that's one of the biggest things is that women don't realize that our skin is just as important as the makeup. And so we remember being 18, 19, 25, 35, and we could just get up in the morning and slap on makeup and we were beautiful for hours. But for me, the makeup looks fantastic for about an hour. And then it starts to settle if I skip skin prep. So I have to make sure that I'm hydrating. And one of the things that I do, like I said, even though I have oily skin, you get that crepiness, you get that dryness underneath your eyes. And there are some beautiful eye masks that you can wear.
Okay, sorry about that. We had a brief interlude. Technology got the better of us, as it does
As it does
sometimes.
sometimes.
So I'm going to throw back to Dawn, who's going to continue her conversation about eye masks. Dawn.
Every morning, well, while I'm waking up and drinking my coffee, I wear a hydrating vitamin C eye mask, and that is hydrating my eyes first thing in the morning. Then, once I shower and I get ready to put my makeup on, I apply that eye balm again, in addition to skincare, because if I don't, then my makeup is not going to look good. What's happening again is, because our skin is in a lot of cases getting drier, but it's also, fine lines, wrinkles, all of those things, that skincare plumps up the skin. And then that makeup can just do what it needs to do. And makeup will look so much prettier if we prep our skin first, especially that under eye area. So we just, a lot of times we just don't think about it, and we think, okay, I can put my makeup on, and then I have to remind myself I'm not 25 anymore, and I have to prepare my skin before I apply makeup, so we can't skip that step.
Yeah.
Sure.
Believe it or not, this is not my area of expertise at all, female makeup. I know a lot about the menopause. This is not my area of expertise. I know, Julie, you've got loads of questions for Dawn about tweaks for mature skin. So I'm just going to let you run with these for a while, and then I'll pop back in a second.
Yeah, and I mean, there are things like, and some of these are personal questions from me,
Yes.
but I think other people have them. So,
Yeah.
like, I struggle to apply foundation, and I have a powder that I use, but I
Okay.
know that if I don't have that moisture on my skin, it definitely shows the lines more.
Absolutely.
Um, but if for somebody who doesn't wear makeup generally, wants something that's more sheer rather than a full coverage, do you
Hmm.
have some tips for that?
Yes, if you want something that's a little bit more sheer, and I absolutely get that. I'm on camera a lot, so I tend to
Mhm.
wear something that's a little bit more medium coverage. First of all, let me just say, and I might get a little pushback on this, but I believe over 40 and especially over 50, as we have more fine lines and more wrinkles, I think avoid full coverage. Full
Mhm.
coverage, a lot, unless you have an event, but avoid full coverage foundation, because after a few hours, it tends to look a little like a mask, and it tends to be a little less flattering. So, first of all, if you're going to look for a foundation, I say kind of stop at a medium coverage, but also light layers. And I am going to give you some specific examples in just a second. But if you're applying foundation that's a light to medium coverage, light layers. Apply a light layer, stand back, give it a minute, and then think, oh, okay, maybe I need a little bit more. For me and those pesky age spots, I tend to just tap those just a little bit more versus those other areas where I may not need as much coverage.
Okay.
Using a makeup brush helps a lot. I find that when we apply makeup with our hands, if we have applied skincare and then we have applied sun protection, if we apply foundation with our hands, it tends to move everything around versus tapping it in place exactly where you need it.
Got it.
So I really like using a makeup brush and kind of using that stippling motion
Mhm.
where you're just tapping it into place versus brushing it on.
Got it.
But also, if you want something that is much lighter coverage, look for the name escapes me right now. I'm thinking an SPF with um gosh, the name is escaping me right now. Give me just a second. The other
Yeah.
thing that I was going to say is look for instead of thinking about the word foundation, look for skin tint. Those
Okay.
tend to be a little bit lighter in coverage, but so many wonderful skin loving ingredients. The one I
Okay.
love, like I said, is from Maybelline, and it's a skin tint. Again, L'Oreal makes some beautiful skin tints, and those are still foundations, but they have skin loving ingredients and tend to be more of a light to medium coverage.
Sure. I remember in my mother's age, these women walking with the line around their chin where they stopped their foundation.
And
James,
that's
I,
where a
I don't
brush can
expect you
come
to
in handy.
experience
You're
this.
stippling your foundation on, and then you come
Yeah,
here and you just bring it down your neck.
yeah, yeah.
The other thing that I was going to say was tinted sunscreen.
Okay.
There are some great tinted sunscreens out there. Right off the top of my head, Dermatology makes a great one. Beautiful tinted sunscreen. It's a beautiful light coverage with an SPF of 46.
Wow.
So look for tinted sunscreen. After that, look for a skin tint. Again, those tend to be light to medium coverage with beautiful skin loving ingredients. And often they can also incorporate an SPF into those.
Terrific.
So great options if you don't want that masky look.
Yeah, yeah.
So another option I wanted to say too is I know that as we get older and our skin is changing, not only do we have fine lines, those pores tend to be a
Hmm.
little bit more prominent. A primer, an under makeup primer. There are some beautiful blurring makeup primers, and you don't have to use it all over your face if you don't want to, if you just don't love that feeling. I have found a couple of great blurring primers, and I just put it around my nose and maybe around my chin and maybe that pesky 11.
Got it.
Let it dry down and then apply foundation. And it really does blur those fine lines, blur those pores, and it gives your makeup something to stick to.
Great. And then what about eye makeup? Because, like for me, I work from home, so I'm on camera a fair bit, but I don't like to put on eyeshadow. But I notice that now when I'm using an eyeliner pencil, my eyelids are less firm, let's
Yes.
say. So it's not as easy to apply. Are there better products for that?
There are definitely eyeshadow primers that you can get, but if your idea, if you're thinking, gosh, sometimes you get a few good ideas like a skin tint, I'm going to get one of those. A makeup primer, I'm going to get one of those. An eye balm, I'm going to get one of those. And then you think eyeshadow primer, okay, look, I just don't want to buy one more thing. Then what you can do is apply a light layer of your concealer and then take your setting powder and set that with your setting powder. That will help tremendously. Another thing that I'm absolutely in love with are setting sprays. If you've never used a makeup setting spray, and I've met a lot of women who have never heard of makeup setting sprays, there are very, very affordable setting sprays, and there are some that are a little pricier. But a setting spray for me and my oily skin, I love it over my makeup to really hold my makeup in place. If your skin or your eyelids tend to run a little oilier, then I like to apply a thin layer or thin spritz of setting spray before I apply any makeup.
Okay.
Because again, that gives your makeup something to stick to. If your issue is oily eyelids, then here's what I would do. Before you apply that concealer, maybe apply your concealer, put a little concealer in your hand, put it with a spritz of that setting spray, and then take it and tap it on.
Okay.
So it will really help that eye makeup really stick. And then you can set it with the setting powder, and that'll help tremendously.
Cool. Nice. And lipstick. Now, I have some friends who say you need a lipstick that's going to let people know you're wearing lipstick. But because I don't wear a lot of makeup, and I know a lot of women who don't, I prefer something that looks a bit more natural, but just a little maybe enhanced.
So I have had thin lips my entire life, and I know that that is a challenge as women get older.
Yeah.
And I tend to disagree with the lipstick that enters the room before you do, because I haven't had to worry about it, just as I get older. It has been I've had thin lips my entire life. So I like something that is a little bit more nude, a little bit more neutral, a little bit more natural to take the focus away from my thin lips. If I wear a brighter, bolder, deeper, richer lip, to
Mm-hmm.
me, it's a giant billboard just sharing with the world, please pay attention to the fact that I have no lips. So I don't enjoy that. But what you could do is you could do a little bit of a bolder lip liner, blend
Mm-hmm.
it in quite a bit. I like to powder that down a little bit because otherwise it feathers into the
Right.
fine lines around the lip. And then I like a lip gloss. If you like a neutral lip, I love a neutral lip, clearly. But instead, if you wanted to do something else, you wanted to use a lip liner, which I love. Here's something about lip liner. Not only does it add a little bit of color, but a lip liner, which a lot of women don't think about, is a lip liner acts as a lip fence. So we have all of the fine lines, and a nude neutral lip liner can just keep everything in. So
Okay.
if you use your liner, then grab a really pretty lip gloss. There are plumping glosses now with a little bit of sparkle. And what that does is it reflects the light, giving the appearance of a little bit of a fuller lip.
Okay. Oh my gosh, yeah, I saw somebody at the airport on my way back from the UK on Monday, and her lips, I mean, it looked like she had an allergic reaction to something, and she just thought, "It's all that." Um, just
And
an
you know what?
aside.
If that makes her feel good, over
Yeah, I
40, over
mean,
50, if that makes her feel good, then that is wonderful. That's not for me. And I think we just have
yeah.
to adapt to whatever is going to make us feel good and feel comfortable. And that's the thing about
Mhm.
makeup is, like I said, we can wear a lot of the same foundations and things like that, but we can augment it. Make sure that we're moisturizing underneath our eyes. Use a little bit of a makeup primer. Add that little bit of setting spray to your concealer above your eyes to get that eye makeup to stay on. We just have to adapt it a little bit.
Cool. And lastly, let's just real quick, like what brushes and sponges and things. I know you said use a makeup brush, not your hand. Like just a few simple tools that you think make the biggest difference.
With applying a foundation and a concealer, you want to look for a brush, and they don't have to be super pricey, but you want to look for a brush that's very dense, because what you want it to do is you want it to hold the product. So I generally apply my foundation to my hand, take the brush and work that into the brush, and then stipple it on, and it just gives
Okay.
you a beautiful finish to your makeup. When you're applying something, that good way to think about it is, the more dense the bristles, that's what you want for something in particular areas. So I'm going to apply my foundation all over my face with that dense brush, but I want to stipple it on. Again, I keep pointing to all of the places that I know where my age spots are. And so I stipple it over those age spots just a little bit more, stippling it around my nose, around my mouth just a little bit more. For a fluffier brush, you want to use that for something like a little bit of setting powder.
Okay.
With your eye brushes, your eye makeup brushes, the denser, the smaller, the denser and the smaller the brush is, the more targeted your application. The
Okay.
fluffier it is, the more area you're going to cover.
Okay. That makes sense.
With a makeup sponge, one of the things that I like to do, regardless of your method of application, however you want to apply your foundation, after I apply my foundation, I like to take a makeup sponge. And some people will say, oh, I don't like to wet the sponge because, a lot of experts will tell you to wet the sponge, squeeze out all the moisture. Wet, dry, whatever makes you happy. I take that makeup sponge and I just stipple it all over my face. And what it does is it just really helps that foundation to set in place. But it also, sponges do what sponges do. And when you stipple that sponge all over your face, it will pick up any excess makeup that
Okay.
tends to get a little unruly later on in the day. So
Uh-huh.
I like to stipple that underneath my eye, and it's amazing what it will pick up that probably would have given me problems later on in the day.
Awesome.
What? Yeah. I loved, Dawn, what you said a few minutes ago when Julie was talking about the lady she saw at the airport. It's important to feel good and feel comfortable at this time of life. You've now come a long way in your journey as a midlife YouTuber, if you like. 18,000 subscribers. I think you're almost at
Yes.
around 700 videos on there.
Yes.
It's obviously been really beneficial for your self-confidence. I can see that it exudes from the screen. How important do you think skincare, makeup is when it comes to women's self-care and helping them with their confidence moving forward?
I think it helps tremendously because I'm going to give you an example. Excuse me. So I think skincare, like for instance, the eye masks. I'm using those eye masks every single morning and they have vitamin C. And so because I've been using them every single morning for a really long time, those under eye bags, the dryness that women have, the dark circles, that has gotten so much better because vitamin C, for instance, is one of those things that is cumulative.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin C works on itself. Vitamin C works during the day to help fight off free radicals, environmental things, but it also is cumulative. So the longer you use it, the more you use it, the better the results will be. And I think skincare is one of the things that helps you when you don't have makeup, when you go to work out, you feel a little bit better about yourself. You said the woman in the gym or at the airport. I was thinking about when I go to work out, I'm going to work out, no makeup on, but rather than getting my lips done, I've had my eyebrows microbladed. So they're filled in, okay, permanently. I mean, it fades, but I have to retouch it. That's one of the things that makes me feel better about myself. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like before, when they weren't filled in and they were sparse and poking you in the face when we had a conversation, I felt like my grandmother with no makeup on. And that eyebrow microblading just helps me feel so much better. So I think skincare can help you just feel better before you even apply makeup. And we don't have to think about makeup as full coverage like we did when we were 19 and we thought, okay, the more the better.
Mm-hmm.
Light layers, work into it. Find something like a skin tint that's going to cover some of the things, but still, you look like you, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
I
that.
wonder if I could ask you, we could talk to you all day, Dawn, right? There's no doubt about it. I think we will have to get you back on at some point in future.
I would love that.
But we're kind of coming to the max of our time. I just wonder before you go, if you take yourself back to when you first started doing this, what's the one thing that you wish you'd known before you started? And what would you like ladies to take away who are listening to you today?
What do I wish I knew? I think I wish I knew to give myself a little bit more grace and that every I've said it before in our here with you, every birthday is a new challenge. And I can't say that right now, any tip that I give you right now is going to be the be all end all. And this tip is going to serve you well for the next 15 years of wearing makeup. Because again, every birthday has been a new challenge. And even for myself, I have to take a step back and say, you know what? The advice that I gave 5 years ago was good, but it doesn't serve me as well now as it did 5 years ago. And we have to know that our skin is still changing. And we may have to take a step back and think, okay, is it me? Or is this product not serving me anymore? Can I alter it a little bit? Can I do something different with it? 5 years ago, I did not need an eye balm underneath my eyes. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was in my 50s 5 years ago.
Yeah. So the
Now
overall
I
message,
absolutely need that.
the message then is this is actually a phase of life that's an opportunity to grow and continue growing and continue experimenting, finding new things that work in different ways depending on where you might be at a particular time in life. Would that be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see a lot of videos. I see a lot of one beautiful young women on social media and YouTube. And I think, gosh, that makeup looks incredible. But okay, hold on now. Am I going to be able to do that? Am I going to be able to do that exactly the way she did it?
Right.
Maybe. But let me try it a few different ways before I throw the whole thing out and say, oh, no, that's not for me. I need to figure out how to make it work for me with the skin that I have today.
Today. Yeah.
Dawn, we've loved having you. Like I said, we'd love to have you back at some point. But for our listeners who want to connect with you and find out more about you, where should they go? Give us your YouTube channel, your Instagram feed, your website, whatever you've got.
Everything is just doing my best. All one, just doing my best. So it's YouTube, just doing my best. Instagram, just doing my best. Facebook, just doing my best. I'm not on that pesky TikTok yet. I can't get myself to learn one more platform. I just can't do it.
Amazing.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you
I'm
so much. You both have been a joy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today. This has been great. And I appreciate the tips too. I'm going to put some of them to use.
Oh, good. Well, I know that they'll work. Just give yourself some grace.
Awesome. Okay, what I will say is to our listeners, if this episode hit home and you've been struggling with your self image lately, you could use a bit of extra support. Please don't try to do it alone. We offer a menopause impact assessment that can help you unpack what's really going on. This is a 45-minute coaching call designed to help women over 40 get unstuck and start making real progress with health, happiness, and hormones. So we start with a scientifically validated symptom questionnaire so we can get a clear picture of what's actually going on for you right now. Then we shift the focus to your goals, your priorities, and what feeling better actually looks like for you. So if you want to book a session, we'll drop that link in the show notes. That's all I've got.
Yeah. So that's it for this week then. We've been coaches James and Julie from Fabulous Beyond 40. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks again to our amazing, amazing guest, Dawn Pfingsten. We'll see you here next week. In the meantime, remember to stay strong and stay fabulous. We'll see you soon. Take care.